All right. How are you doing?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. I wish I gave you Windows build now. Okay. Well, thanks for coming out. Looks like we've got a pretty small crowd, so this should be a nice, sort of intimate kind of panel. So you're here for the About Games panel, and the way this is going to work is that there's three of us. It's myself, Chris Johnson. I'm the creator on Expand, and I'll go through that a bit later. There's
I'm Matt Troviani, I'm developing Hacker.
And I'm Dylan Brown, developer of Campaign.
cool. And the way that we're going to do this is that we're going to kind of do like an interview style between two of us, while the third person plays the game in front of you. So you get a sense about the game, that we're showing, and you get some sort of design kind of questions coming out as well. So we're going to start with playing Hackman. So if you could start that up, Dylan.
No, just we have a good time.
All right, okay. And okay.
Right, you put the mouse in there?
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah.
It's behind it again.
Sorry. Yeah, the last panel ran a bit long. It's their fault.
I also played them.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Next to Jeff.
Okay, so yeah, if you can load that up and then get started, and we'll go from there.
Sure, I'll give a brief introduction. So the game's Hacknet, it's my game. It's a hacking game, built through by Terminal. It's meant to be really immersive and realistic-ish, but it's still like a fun experience. Have you played it before, Dylan?
I have played a tiny bit.
Yeah, how about you?
Not very far because I was pretty busy at the time.
Okay, do we actually need these microphones? Probably not.
Yeah, we'll use them, yeah. Okay, so what are we seeing here? Like, what's going on here, man?
Alright, so I want to start the game with like a bit of a story hook because it's kind of a bit of a mouthful to start with. It's a big chunk of like difficult to digest stuff, like tutorials and big blocks of text. And it's asking a lot of you right away, and I found that if you just threw people in, the first thing they saw was a tutorial, they'd have a hard time following it. So I wanted a bit of a boot up sequence that gave something of like a story hook to start all out.
Okay, so what's the story of this? Like, what's going on?
Alright, so there's a hacker named Bit who's recently been killed, and he's got a sort of a dead man switch, which is like a 14-day timer that he has to keep stopping if he's still alive, and that's expired, sending out this program that is big elaborate sequence of programs and things that he's set up to take revenge after his death.
Cool. And when how did this game come about? Like, where did you get the idea of like a hacking game? Did you make it at a game jam? Did you come up with it in the shower? Like, what was the process?
Bit of both.
Bit of both.
Yeah, I made the prototype in game jam and built it off from there. But that sort of came about kind of weirdly naturally. I'd just written like an interface library with like I just wrote a new way of coding in buttons and stuff, and I was really excited about it. And I just wanted to make a whole bunch of buttons whenever I made the game jam. And so the first thing I made was a bunch of buttons, then I made a text box, and then I made the text box really tall, and then I made it to the text box at different things when you typed it in. I'm like, that's pretty much close enough to a terminal. And then it sort of just became this over the next couple of years.
Okay, so you've got a lot of like UI stuff here. What's going on? What's the thing on the right? What's on the left? It all seems like a bit confusing.
It's kind of a bit overwhelming, which is why I felt like I needed to do the story hook thing that I had mentioned before. But the thing on the right is your terminal. The thing on the far left is your RAM. It's kind of like your resource in the game. This lights just go off on their own.
Yeah, they keep doing that all the time.
It's alright.
It's kind of creepy. It's a good hacker atmosphere.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll just pretend that Dylan did that. So the thing on the left is your RAM, it's your interface. It's designed to be like 1 pixel represents like 1 megabyte of it, so it's got a fixed size, so the area underneath that is like a sweet Windows Media Player visualizer. The big panel, I don't know, I was really conflicted for a long time about what to put there, and I decided to make it something useless so that Let's Players could put their face there.
Okay, so but what kind of things, like when someone's playing the game, what kind of things would come up in RAM? Like, are there anything useful for the player to get through the challenges, and what kind of challenges do you like face in Hackman?
Okay, well, you see right now the tutorial takes up most of the RAM. In fact, that's exactly as much RAM as it takes to run both the tutorial and the single program that you're required to run it. Like, in addition to it with the tutorial, because I wanted to demonstrate this like memory concept in it. But basically anything that any program you want to run that does something very significant that affects the game will take up RAM. And RAM is basically like you can only be doing so many things of influence at the same time. And that's like one of your limiting factors in the game. And the sort of RAM paradigm handles that.
Right, okay, cool. And
What about this bit at the bottom here with the different nodes? Can you explain that?
Okay, sure. That's like the network map, which is your map of all of the computers you're connected to based on like distance field. It was originally intended to be one of the distance field maps of the internet based on distance representing ping time. So that things that were further away geographically would have a longer ping time, so they'd be further away on this map. And there's like this weird concept of really good connections being like highways that makes you closer to things. I thought that was really neat, and I was originally going to do that for the network map. But it turns out that the game gets really crowded really quickly, and like you just get these weird circles around things. So nodes kind of scatter and group together, and then it'll solve it in such a way that it'll always display kind of nicely. So that is just a way of keeping track of like your library of visit locations kind of.
okay, so it looks like Dylan's like getting an email that's kind of giving him a task to do.
Yeah.
And then from there, he's like sort of going to different like nodes on the map to explore the different bits and pieces. Can you give us an example of the kind of missions that people be doing? Like, you know, like what are you just breaking into computers, or like is there more to it than that, or like what are the different kind of activities? Like, give us an example of the kind of thing players could experience when they play this game.
When I was designing it, I basically went to YouTube and looked up hacker scenes from movies, right? And I just wanted people to do cool hacker things, right? So, at one point you break into KFC, you steal the 11 secret herbs and spices. And I just want people to do cool stuff like that. It's like, I don't know, imagine you're a super hacker, what's the coolest thing you can think of doing, right?
Yeah.
And it's probably in there at some point.
Okay.
But,
and do you use like source suggestions from friends and stuff, or do you just like come up with all the ideas?
Source suggestions from bars mostly. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
And with this game, did it start like, so you're going to be commercially releasing it in a few weeks?
Yeah.
Did it start that way, or did you? I mean, like I think you released an earlier version, right?
Yeah, so I put out a version a couple of years ago on IndieDB for free, and that was like the prototype. I ended that prototype with a message, like you get an email from me at the end, and that would be like, thanks for playing. This was a prototype game. Then I'm stopping working on it to work on like this other dream project that I had at the time. And I got like a lot of, I still get a lot of emails saying like, wow, it's a terrible idea, you should keep working on this game, which is really nice to get now. It's like, I already did that. It's coming out really soon.
Cool.
But yeah, so that went pretty well, but I released a free version of it, and that got really excellent traffic, and still does. And it's pretty exciting to have that, because it gave me a lot of resources of people that I could talk to about the game and get them to test it. And I have some really amazing testers that came out of that did a lot of really excellent work for me.
Were there any downsides?
I don't think so. I think it was actually really wholly great to do that.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Are you gonna bring that up?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
okay. Do you want me to explain? So
you already know what you are.
So, well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? But you got an email, several weeks after being released. No, you like, sorry, 2 years. Sorry, 2 years after it being released, with someone who was a big fan of the game, and they were going to make their own game inspired by it, right? Is this right?
That's not quite
Okay.
right. I got an email from a fan asking me why I rebranded, and I hadn't rebranded, so that was concerning. But I found that like a copy of the game that looked very similar, called I'm not actually going to name names. Very similar copy on Greenlight, and I think Chris has taken that worse than I did.
But I mean, but the reality is that like that game was on Greenlight and was covered by like a whole bunch of big sites like Kotaku and things like that. And I wonder, like, you're going to be releasing this in a few weeks, right? Like, and maybe there's going to be a few people who get confused, or like, is that a problem, or is that like, because there's in the last few years.
You want to reply to it, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like in the last few years, there's been a big thing in like indie circles about honing of games, and it's been a big problem. Like, has that been the same case for you, or do you think it helps you, or like, what's your kind of
I have
position?
no idea. I'm not released yet, and they're not released yet, so it's really hard to tell. If they maybe the market, I think that would have been really concerning.
Okay.
It's really hard to say what it's going to be like, if it's had any influence, if it matters at all. If they brushed something out that was really crappy and then mine looked like a clone of a game that's already crappy, that could have been really bad. But that hasn't seemed to be the case yet.
Okay.
A big part of me wants them to release it so I can play it, because having made it, I don't actually really get to play my game. And I'm making it because I think it's cool, so hopefully they think it's cool too.
Okay.
I think it's maybe like a stupid, optimistic way of looking at it, but it's kind of working out for the best, so I guess it's fine.
We're probably going to have to wrap up in a minute, but
Yeah.
I'll ask one last quick question.
Sure.
And this is probably not a good question, but what are like some of the, from a game design kind of point of view, what's the biggest challenge that you ran into with creating a hacking game?
I thought that was going to be like all the questions you asked are going to be subsets of that one. The biggest challenge? I think I struggled a lot with working out a structure to the whole game that feels really good. And this is something that's kind of weird that you don't really think about much when you're looking at games from the outside, but like this design of like you get an email and the email tells you what to do in a certain way, and then you get links to where you have to go, and then you do it and you come back and you have a way of saying I've completed this mission. That like structure doesn't come out of nowhere, and I went through a lot of revisions before I found something that I thought was good enough. And like as you saw just before, right, Dylan like didn't realize he had to reply, and that's like means it's still not perfect, right? And that's the sort of thing that stuff like platformer games have had a long time to build up these structures and these like ways of doing things that feel really good, and making something in a really new genre that doesn't have those like tropes to build off of means that some systems, some like really fundamental designs about the game, like I had to make up, and they're still not perfect, and they don't have the years of refinement the other ones do, and the game suffers for it. So that's probably overcoming those is probably the biggest challenge.
Cool. Well, what we'll do is I'll get you to sort of close that up, Dylan, and if you could load up caffeine, and then we're going to do a bit of a switcheroo.
Yeah.
I suppose I better let you do all the plug stuff, Matt. So if people think Hacknet looks pretty neat, where should they go? Like, what's
They should go down to the indie games room immediately after this and go and play it, because it's actually there.
and anything else?
Yeah, it's being published by Surprise Attack, and it's going to be out next month on the 12th on Steam and all other digital distribution platforms. There's trailers and stuff up on YouTube, and you shouldn't have too much of a hard time finding it, because there's a fair bit of buzz lately after putting out a bunch of trailers and a bunch of contact press. So just typing in Hacknet pretty much anywhere will give you all information.
Cool, awesome. So we're going to switch over to caffeine. And
Am I playing this?
No, I'm playing caffeine.
Ooh.
All right, I got this right. Matt, do you like it? Yeah, I'm playing caffeine, and
And I'm interviewing Dylan about it.
yeah.
Excellent. Can I grab you on it? So that's really good.
Oh wait, no, I was meant to. Dylan plays. Yeah, I play.
I'm playing Expand.
Yeah, you're playing Expand. Okay, cool. Got this right.
Okay, don't worry.
All right.
You can use a controller or a mouse and keyboard. Are you good with the controller?
Yeah, I'm good with either. Whatever.
Controller? Would you prefer?
Yes, please. All right. Okay. Cool.
Chris, before you go, have you played Caffeine before?
Very quickly. Like, it's one of these things where if there's a game, like Caffeine or Hacknet, that I think is really cool. Okay.
At the wrong resolution.
Can you load it up anyway? It's just it's super long, but it should be fine. Yeah. So usually what I do is if I see a game that I really like at a convention or something, I'll play a little bit of it just to confirm it is as good as I think, and then I won't play it at all until it's released. Because I like enjoy playing finished complete games, unless you guys want feedback. Any luck? Or should I can run a video. Or... All right, cool. Well, yeah, you have a seat, and you two should. Oh, you can switch or keep.
I think it's fine.
Once you're in the game, just press hold enter on the full screen.
Oh, okay.
After the menu.
Okay, just
It's a bug.
Okay. Yeah, it works. Just take it off. Yeah.
Test. How's it going? Yeah, good. How'd my Hacknet? Hacknet was good. Nice. yeah. Alright, so tell us a little bit about caffeine. So caffeine is all about space coffee, basically. Yeah, so everyone runs out of coffee on Earth, or caffeine to be specific, and basically they have to build some massive spaceships to go out and mine minerals to create enough synthetic caffeine to
quench points first.
Nice. So that's the story. What about gameplay?
So it's an exploratory game with physics puzzles and also a little bit of element of horror in there as well.
Nice. So how does that play out? Chris, can you...
I'm just loading it up now.
Did you open settings, just press play?
I went back. Oh, yeah, I clicked play while here.
Okay, cool.
Well, then I'm sure.
That'll open. Yes.
Alright, okay, just hit
Yeah, no loading screen.
You sort of cut off the bottom.
I actually haven't seen a whole lot of campaigns, so I'm kind of looking forward to asking you some questions about how you built the early stages of it.
Yeah.
But did you build the first screen that we're going to see first?
Yeah. The first part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you building them all in order?
Kind of, yeah. Mostly, I usually build it by level. So, I.
It's no full screen, so. There we go.
Oh, God, it's running. But it might not.
That's alright.
So basically build it by level. So I think I come up with a kind of floor plan. I write it down, just draw it with a pen.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just lay it out in Unreal Engine with just simple shapes, and then I kind of create the actual assets. So
Nice. So people can't hear this right now, but I know there's some pretty exceptional sound work that's going on in this as well.
Yeah. So we have it's all spatial sound, and it's all done by a guy named Jonathan Washrow. I think that's his name, it's French. But yeah, he's a guy who did a lot of Outlast and Trackmania, the current Trackmania. That's
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty excellent. So it's an environmental exploration game first and foremost.
Yes, yeah, that's the main kind of focus. With the other like mishmashes from other genres and things like that.
Yeah, I know there's definitely elements of horror in there. So what sort of thing what's your sense of progression in the game? Do you go from level to level and you looking for exits?
Yeah, so you go from level to level. So you start at the top of kind of this kind of space station, and as you progress through the game, you keep going down through the levels. So you're progressing in terms of you're learning more about the people there and what's going on and something that's currently happening that you're not aware of yet.
Can you tell us anything about
So basically, a little bit. Okay? Obviously, there's nobody around. So one of the things we're trying to find out is where everyone's gone, or if there was everyone there. So, but the kind of there's a lot of stuff left behind, sticky notes, a few audio logs, and a lot of kind of possessions. So as you go through, you kind of find out there's been something going on in terms of something to do with the coffee that the caffeine that you've been synthesizing, and the supply that's actually on the ship.
Nice. So does the player just wake up on the ship, or
Yeah,
they
so
set it?
you wake up as a 10-year-old kid. So
Right.
you kind of wake up and you have no idea what's happening, basically.
That's pretty excellent. How long are you playing for the game to be?
The game's going to be around 5 to 7 hours in total.
Nice. Yeah, so other than walking around for these first couple of sessions before you start hitting the puzzles, are there any main mechanics that you're trying to introduce to the player or cues?
Yep, so definitely some physics-based interaction. So picking up objects, cups and things like that, chairs even, everyone's interested in chairs. Which then, like in the beginning level, for example, there's not really much in terms of physics puzzles, but there's lots of objects you can pick up, which kind of introduces the player to, moving things around, and then later on, kind of floor collapses, and that they're all interactable and things like that. And it's all giving you kind of clues to that a lot of things are interactive.
Nice. So how do you design any systems that encourage that sort of behaviour and that sort of playing around?
Basically, I went through a lot of iteration in terms of especially the beginning and kind of thinking of ways to kind of get people to try and grab things. And most people do try and move things, especially like things like cups and everything. So I made it intuitive by just buying and selling mouse buttons. They're the main interactions because most people go like straight away go to that and kind of, and if someone moves, then they're like, oh, that maybe this button does something else. So they use the right click and then they can grab things, kind of thing. With the controller, it's the triggers by like this.
Sorry.
Chris, what are you smiling about?
Just like it's kind of self-referential because we're in a kind of lecture theatre. Yeah, it's a pretty big space.
Yeah, so any of the cups you can pick up with one of the triggers. Can you show us the physics, Chris?
Alright.
Find us a cup.
Yeah, find us
So where's the closest cup from where Chris is?
if you go this way, yeah, just head out to the corridor.
Yeah, there's no drinking in theatres.
If you actually there's a chair in front of you, but in the dark. So if, you can see the back of it just in front of you.
Yep.
If you hold down, I think, the right trigger in the middle.
Yeah, I think it.
Okay, try the other trigger. Yep, you got a chair now. So
Okay,
nice.
it's very dark.
So
Can you do anything with the chair?
So yeah, you can throw it around. You can actually also catapult yourself down to space. Found today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's on purpose.
No, it's not. Yeah, so you can move it around, use it to stack on things. You can jump onto the.
Right, okay, because there was a room before where I think I needed to bring something in to jump over.
Yeah, or you can like push all the chairs over.
Okay, right back in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's the kitchen. So
I'm totally lost.
yeah.
So, is that the first puzzle we've run into in the game?
Yeah, that's basically the first type of puzzle in the game. Kind of just like, you know, that's also playing into the fact that you explore and move things around. For instance, when you first look at that, like, heap of those chairs, for instance, you're just like, oh, that place is blocked off. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas then, as soon as you find out you can move things, you think, oh, maybe I'll go away. There's a bit of the physics issues there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Stress test.
Yeah, rushing the door. That'd be great.
You can actually. It's something to
Do I
get stuck in there.
Do I have a flashlight?
You do, yeah, it's X, I believe. It doesn't last for long though.
Oh no, it's like Doom 3.
Yeah, it's a broken flashlight. Now, Doom 3 you can, we could technically out now, but yeah.
So, what other puzzles could people expect to find in Cafe?
So, one of the most interesting types would be light-based. So, the whole station is rotating in space, so you have windows in corridors and kitchens and things like that. So that when, say, the sun.
Oh, you just get eaten by that lightning?
You should not, because I changed.
Was that the monster from Lost?
Alright. Just hit restart. Yeah. I took that out, but that's good. Anyway, so the sun is going around the station, so it comes in through the windows, and some rooms have no light later in the game that have obstacles, dangerous obstacles, like broken floors and kind of dangerous substances, and basically you need the light to be able to see the shapes of things. So you have a limited amount of time to go through until the sun comes around and it's visible through the window.
That's pretty cool.
Basically. Yeah.
Nice. You spoke to me a bit earlier about water puzzles. Water puzzles?
Yep. So there's a few like flooding-based puzzles and things like that. So on the station, everyone on the station has to have their own caffeine, like coffee.
Yeah.
So they store a lot of water and actual coffee on the station. So a lot of that's broken down a bit and flooded different stairwells and levels, even entire levels. So you have to try and pump those out, like figure out a way to activate pumps to clear the way to get through.
Nice. Can you tell us more about when you're expecting to be done with the game?
So it's we're releasing in 3 parts. It's one game, but so you pay once, and then once you've purchased it, each different part, once released, will come down and update itself into the game.
Nice.
The first part is due out hopefully within the next few months.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. How'd you come up with that model?
The story that I had laid out was kind of 3 parts, and I thought that I could release it simply since the parts are kind of sort of different. Like the first part's like an introductory part, right?
Chris, come on. We're a serious demo here.
Yeah, chair.
This is crushing chairs with doors. Can you like deform the chair for that? You could actually just like crush it.
Yeah, basically, I just thought it would be a good way to release it kind of then gradually. And in fact, instead of having like an episode game that's completely segregated, like obviously when you're in episode 2, for instance, most games you can't go back to episode 1.
Yeah.
Whereas in this you can, it kind of just adds on.
Oh, you can. So it's like one game sort of,
where
you're releasing thirds of free DLC almost.
Yeah, kind of
nice.
So it just expands the area, so it keeps going down. So there's only 3 parts, so the middle parts kind of explore a bit more of your physics-based stuff, like a much more hands-on kind of puzzles.
Yeah.
Like harder and more like wide variety. And the third one, basically everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, we're going to have to wrap this up pretty soon. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to say about caffeine? And I'll ask about how to get it.
I'm not sure. It seems to be running pretty well.
I should mention that it's beautiful, by the way, and you've done all the modeling yourself.
Yeah, so everything in the game is done by me except for sound. So it's all done in my free time.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
If people are interested in seeing more of that thing, how can they get more?
Basically, you can head over onto my Facebook page, and if you find me on Twitter, if you just search Dylan Brown, it comes up. I tweet about it all the time. Tweets, development screenshots, and everything. Also, that website, which is incandiceimaging.net.
And is it in the indie games room downstairs right now?
It certainly is. But I don't know when that closes. I have no idea.
And if they want to get it on Steam, can they?
Yeah, so it's on Steam. There's a demo from last year available on Steam. And I'm thinking of putting up the current demo, just update that. What I've been showing here. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Chris, thank you for playing. We might switch over to have a look at Expand now.
The laptop hasn't launched yet. So.
Chris, any thoughts on caffeine having just played?
Yeah, very big. Get into my password. Yeah, it's a very big area to sort of move around. Yeah. This one's going to be a bit pink, so sorry about that. Oh, this is the inside. You can stream it from my keyboard. Yeah, that's good. Great. Yeah, hopefully the pick up on both. Yeah, cool. This is,
It's very pink.
It's the breast cancer version.
yeah, breast, yeah. It's good again.
Looks like we just changed the hex code.
Yeah, it has. Okay, so just a bit of background before we get too far. This game's actually in black and white with a pink square. So there's a kind of filter that's being applied over the top because technology is annoying. It's just getting that.
Alright, so Chris, what does Expand?
So Expand's a game where you're moving through. Oh, it's trying to be better anyway. Where you're moving through this sort of circular labyrinth, and as you can kind of see, as you're moving through the space, it's sort of extending, twisting, and kind of stretching all around you. It's very kind of focused on being a little bit meditative and kind of very chill as well.
Yeah, so it kind of relaxes you, but while do you get stressed in the game at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain, like with most games, kind of like peaks and troughs in terms of like the amount of stress the players will be feeling. But generally, I suppose the feeling we're trying to create is kind of like if you were meditating and doing a Sudoku puzzle at the same time. You know, so Sudoku isn't really stressful, right? But it is like kind of mentally engaging at the same time.
Yeah. So, sorry, silence. So basically, what kind of gameplay elements did you include to Expand?
Well, it's pretty simple. So in terms of, I mean, the base elements are just moving the pink square around, and what we try and do is, with that minimalist sort of set of gameplay elements, we then use things in the levels and the design of the levels to bring out a whole bunch of interesting things. So when you have like any system that's relatively basic, even just moving through a space, there's actually a lot of richness. If you think about like your favorite franchise game like Mario or Zelda, you know, there's a reason why they can continue to kind of release those games and keep them feeling fresh and interesting. And that's because, with such a simple set of mechanics, you can build out a lot of interesting gameplay.
Yep. So I know there's an interesting kind of control scheme going on in Expand. How did you come about implementing that?
So all the movement is just based on the left analog stick. There is the only buttons that you have to push is if you enter the pause menu. Otherwise, you can play the game entirely on the left stick. The reason, I suppose the way we came up with that is just sort of moving relative to where you want to move on screen. So it's not a direct mapping, but it's kind of relative to where you are. And we chose to do it that way because we wanted the overall game to feel very smooth. Yeah, from here it looks like the frames.
When you looked, it went smooth.
Okay. So we wanted the game to feel very smooth and kind of like pleasant. And there's this kind of aesthetic kind of feeling when you're moving an analog stick that mirrors that. So yeah, so we want the kind of input that you're doing to mirror the kind of feeling we want you to have in the game. Like usually there's in some games there'll be a moment where you're wanting to, like another example is if you're playing a game and the character's really stressed, maybe you get the player to repetitively push a button. So that frustration that you're physically exerting is the same thing as in the actual game. I think it's important to mirror those with the same kind of input.
Yeah. So what kind of, in terms of narrative in the actual game, is there much in terms of that? Or?
Yeah, well, so we have a very a sort of minimal kind of narrative as well, just to go along to be internally consistent. So as you move through the levels, there is text that appears and sort of fades in and fades away. And the idea with that text is to kind of suggest like some more general meaning behind everything. But one of the things we're trying to do is to not explicitly say, this is a game about tragedy, love, like just some specific thing, because we found that before we put in text, a lot of people would play the game and they would come away with these different interpretations. And for us as developers, those interpretations were the most interesting. Can you get squashed in that?
Sure.
So there's also this thing as well. So when Matt got squashed, what happened is the level reset, but when it reset, it rotated around, however far he was since the last checkpoint. Sorry, just thought I'd capitalize on that. But in terms of text and narrative, so the text is there to kind of suggest things. There's this idea of like closure in a piece of work, and if you have, it's generally considered that a good piece of work will have not complete closure, because if you have complete closure, there's no room for the player to fit, or the viewer to fill in the rest of the experience with their own interpretation. And the kind of the feeling on our side as developers is that most games, kind of tell you too much, right? That they hammer you over the head with this explicit story. And so we're trying to take a step back and give people kind of just the structure of something and to let them feel it to themselves.
That's good. So what kind of process do you go through when you're creating a kind of state, like an area in Expand?
So essentially we do, there's a few different parts. So firstly, it's kind of like thinking through the different aspects of the levels that we have, the level elements. And like you see in a lot of games, you want to do the basic thing where you kind of iterate through those elements and present each of them. So for example, you have the first area that's about not being squashed. The area that Matt will run into later on will have red walls that will kill you when you run into them. And we want to kind of iterate through those things. And then per that area, what we're trying to do is to structure the levels so that we explore that design space. So we provide a whole bunch of interesting variations. Unlike a lot of other games though, we don't try to do it, like here's an enemy with like here's a level with 2 enemies, and here's a level with 3 enemies, and here's a level with like a new enemy, and then like to iterate. From that point, it's just like we brainstorm a bunch of ideas, put them in there, and then art. So if musically it's kind of a bit more consistent to have a level later on, we'll kind of rearrange it to be a bit later.
So the music has quite a kind of influence on the levels itself, and vice versa.
Yeah. So it's one of these things where like we'll be, so there's 2 people working on the game, like for the majority, and that's myself and a composer called Chris, who's fantastic. And yeah, what will happen is I'll do a whole bunch of levels, and then based on that, Chris will compose something, whatever he likes that he thinks would fit with those. And then from there, we'll go through and we'll cull some levels, or we'll make changes to the music, and we'll have this sort of back and forth. And then, and to start with, what he'll do is he'll compose like a straight track, like you would see someone in an album, just a linear track. And then once we as we nail it down, we then start to divide that track up and create different loops based on the different levels and the different areas.
Yeah, that's really good. So kind of, what is your kind of release plan for Expand?
Well, we put up a green light a few weeks ago. We got green lit Tuesday.
Congratulations, by the way.
So so we're going to be releasing in September. So we should be going gold within the next 3 to 4 weeks.
That's really good.
And we're just sort of polishing the very last bit of the game off and then have some bugs to fix up, and then we'll be releasing on Steam, Humble Store, itch.io, which is the best of all three. It's like amazing.
Whoa.
It is. Like seriously, if you go to the front page of Steam and you compare that to the front page of itch.io, like itch.io is way better. Yeah. That's another topic, but yeah.
Because you like super indie games, and that's like super indie stuff.
Yeah. So that's the plan for release. We'll also be releasing the soundtrack of the game and the level editor as well. We're tossing up to see if that's going to be in China.
Can you tell us more about your level editor?
Sure. So in order to create these kind of levels, we couldn't use kind of any existing level editing tool. So we ended up creating our own, which is a lot of work and a lot of time, and probably wouldn't do again. But for this project, we created our own level editor. You can edit the game live as you're playing. Everything in the game is fully scriptable, and any event in the game can be tied to the beat of the music as well. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. It's a very esoteric tool. We gave the tool to a professional level designer for about a week, and he made some good stuff, but he found that there's a lot going on. It takes a while to understand the mindset in which we think about the game, and that's something like when I started working with the other Chris, we spent about 6 months just hanging out, talking about things, and getting the kind of vision down.
Yeah, right. So exclusive to itch.io level editor.
Maybe it's one of these things that's not polished enough to put up on Steam, and it's not polished enough to put up on Steam, and if it comes with your game, like if people have to go to a little bit of extra effort to find it, then they're probably going to go to the effort to play around with levels.
Yeah.
We don't want to present it as like this is a complete thing that you can use and upload to levels of the internet, but at the same time, we put so much work into it that we don't want it to go to waste either.
How are we going on time?
We might finish up soon with your questions.
Sure. Something else?
That's another question.
Oh, you're good.
It's
Good bust my balls.
It's a lot harder than it looks, everyone. You talked about the level editor and it being a bit crazy and there not being anything you could have used as a replacement. Since you had to make levels like this and then weren't any tools for it, how did you think of a means of creating something like this? It's kind of hard for me, even as a game designer and level creator, to imagine how this is made and a good way of designing this sort of thing.
Well, I think the simple thing is just do everything stupid unless it has to be smart. And so this is a lot of stuff that's really stupid. Like if I sat down, I tried. But I was going to say if I sat down and explained it to you, you'd probably pick it up straight away. But like, it's a whole bunch of really simple things just used in different ways. One of the things I like to think about a lot is how the tools shape the development process. So with in recent years there's been a big rise in like, I'm going to go on my Unity rant, but like there's a big rise in like commercial engines like Unity and
Unreal, Caffeine.
Yeah, and they're great. They save a lot of time and stuff. But a lot of people have to also remember that games aren't just physics bodies with a texture thrown on top of it, right? And in some ways, I suppose making this as a rebellion against that in some kind of way. Not that it was intention at the start. It was just like I started this game 5 years ago where those things weren't as big of a thing, and it was a bit more common for developers to write their own tools. I'm not advocating that perspective because I think there's a, it's like a tech thing that people do, which is like, I'm like made my own tools and I'm really tough, and I think that's terrible. But it's if you, it's
but you just make your own tools and you are really tough.
I'm also really terrible. But there's it's one of these things that's like sometimes it's necessary. Like there are filmmakers who've made their own cameras, right? And I'm not advocating. I'm just saying sometimes it's necessary.
So you say do a lot of things stupid, but this all looks very smart. Can you tell us an example of something stupid that you're doing that we might not expect that produces these really cool results? So it's a bit of an obscure question.
The physics system is probably stepping way too far, like way too many times, way too many iterations. Because the trickiest part of this game is the collisions, because it's you're a square in a circular world, there are a whole bunch of very subtle rules that if you think about it for too long, you kind of run into. And so we have to fudge a whole bunch of things. And you know, where we can't fudge,
It's really
we
hard.
just when you can't fudge something, sometimes you just have to like do a really stupid brute force solution. But you know, that's okay in this case.
I was more talking about your level design philosophy.
Okay.
I find these levels really fascinating, and I kind of want to know how you made, or how.
Well, it's one of these things. It's just like it's like the Einstein thing, where it's like if you think about an idea for a long enough time, you know, like it's mostly just about time, right? This game's been developed over 5 years. If you think about a world that has circular paths for that amount of time, you come up with a lot of ideas very quickly. Not very quickly. You come up, they come up, right? It's also one of these things of just like the other thing that kind of makes the process easier is that you can play, like, you know, I could play Mario or something, and there might be a bit that's really interesting in that game, and I could be like, how do I translate that into this system, into this game? And that process of translation will be, will have a level that to me, uses the same idea, but to the average Joe would feel completely different as well. So there's there's lots of ways to come up with stuff.
What gave you the idea for Expand?
Well, it started as a game jam back in 2010. I've been working on that long. In which I was making a game about the end of the world, and in that game it was a 2D platformer where planets were being sucked into the center of the screen, and I had a whole bunch of bugs, like players being stuck between two planets that are equal distance apart, and like just silly things. And then I went to bed, one night, and I had a vivid dream, and in the dream I pictured the basic version of this, which I started to make, and it appeared interesting, so I made it, and then I didn't touch it for a year, and I made it some more. And now here it is.
It's really similar to my Hackman story.
Cool.
How we go for time? Which is a good screen to leave on questions for.
Okay, yeah, so it's, according, we got 5 minutes left for questions, even though this is probably this could be the last panel in this room, so we probably could say, we could push it. So does anyone have any questions that you can fire away to one of us, all of us, it doesn't really matter.
What questions are you asking yourself when you're starting to design a level?
What is so the way I think about it is like, what is the interesting idea behind this level, right? And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the level stuff, at least for me, it comes from having like a really strong fundamental philosophy about like, this is the game, this is what it's going to be, and from there, like a whole bunch of things naturally emerge from that. That's not a very helpful answer, unfortunately, but it's this sort of thing about pacing and stuff. It's like those kind of design things.
Yeah, I think in my stuff I'll do a similar thing where I'll have, before I write like a mission happen, I'll have something that I want to achieve, or like some interesting thing in the world that I want to show, and I'll build some story. I guess I'd probably do it the reverse of you. I'll build some story around what I need done. So I'll like usually try and build up the framework of it, like here are the computers with the raw components and the ports and all that, and all the security that I need for it, and then I'll like think of a way in which it can do anything more than that, and try and work like the story around that.
Yeah, I usually think of 2 things first. So usually, number one, what type of puzzles, so what type of gameplay I want in the level, and then like who would be present in that level. Because particularly for caffeine, it's all about backstory and kind of lore in the world. So I think about the people that are living on in that area, and then how they can interact and what they leave behind.
And I think also sometimes you just stumble upon stuff. Like, that's really common for me. I just like, I'm dicking around in the editor and I'm like, then I have a picture in my head. I'm like, this would be cool. And then it is. Or it's not.
That crazy thing. You should have walked me once.
I'll just think.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not talk about that. Any other questions?
I have a question just for dealing specifically. Your game obviously is based around this absurdist, humorous kind of concept of this like caffeine not existing. So and the visual style is obviously quite realistic, like very realistic. And you mentioned yourself a little bit horrific in its tone later on. does the humorous concept that's at the core of it ultimately like come up in the game? Is that does it remain
does.
humorous and absurd?
It does throughout. I like to think of it as not particularly humorous, but quirky. A little bit humorous, yeah. I like to put a little bit in there. But because like it's good to have it's a good stopgap as well, kind of thing to have in there to take you away from a little bit from anything that's tense. So you can have areas, for instance, in the demo that I'm showing is the kitchen area, and that area actually has a really nice music track, a kind of relaxing music track to it. And in that area you're just exploring, right? You're just having a look around, and there's some humorous lists of notes there, some kind of quirky stuff. They're basically it's good. You get a little bit more relaxed, and then when you go out of that, everything kind of starts to fade into a more kind of tense area,
Right.
Which is more serious. As a result, there's less humorous stuff there.
So speaking about that, is the caffeine that is the title?
Yep.
Does the gameplay in some way reference the idea of caffeine and addiction and perhaps the
It
highs,
does.
like highs and things
The
like that?
narrative,
Lows
yes.
of it?
The narrative does, yes. Like,
And the gameplay?
sorry?
And the gameplay specifically?
The gameplay later on, yes.
Okay.
Could be like Darren Aronofsky.
Sorry, we're talking about how much we love that movie. Any other questions?
I was just wondering, in regards to two-part question, are you guys all working full-time on your games at the moment?
Also, I work part-time at a job to fund my game. And all of my money pretty much ends up going into it and like buying licenses or keeping me alive while I make my game. And that's my sort of deal, Chris.
Okay, we're gonna have to wrap up soon. Let's go. I was working a job that paid pretty well, and I did the same kind of thing as Matt for a while, and then I burned my boat and I went full time, and then looking for funding support, and that didn't fall through. So the game's almost finished. So yeah, I pretty much spent all the money I had because that's how much I care about what I do. Actually, that sounds really. I mean, it's one of these things like. Okay,
we all do, right?
I should have said it in the long run, but like, it's like for me, that's what I had to. For me, that's what I had to do, right? I don't recommend it. It's like I'm probably gonna regret it now. Maybe I'll make a shit ton of money and fly everyone out somewhere, but like probably not, right? Yeah, I mean, but yeah, at the moment I'm now got a job, making apps. We'll leave it at that.
I work pretty much full time, or part time, but full time hours. So it's just basically my free time. Like get home, work on the game for a few hours, and then go to bed, wake up, go to work again.
Yeah, I mean the best thing is if you can find a job that's flexible and that will pay pretty well, and that's probably not actually like a game design job either, because then that means when you get home you're like feeling more relaxed and ready to dive into programming. If you're doing programming all day, the one thing you don't want to do when you get home is more programming. Well, I'm not sure about that actually.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that suggested, or came up with this idea that the best possible job for a programmer is to be like a bicycle courier. Then you get all your exercise and stuff, and you'll be like out and about, and you come home and you have time to like, while you're riding around and think about your code, you'll come home and you'll be totally fine for it. What do you think?
I actually think about a game while not work. So
Yeah,
you
me
probably
too.
just
Yeah,
the distance.
Yeah, I try to drown out everyone else in the office by playing the music from my game. Anyway,
You get headphones.
No, I do have headphones, but anyway, thanks for coming out. I've been given the signal that we need to bugger off, so we're going to do that. But if you have any questions, we'll be like out in the foyer, hanging around, probably get drinks tonight. Feel free to join us.
Like, you get through.
But yeah, come to the indie game room. That's pretty cool.
I think
Yeah.
it's closed.
I think
Or
it's-
is it closing?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
It's like, you guys go get your stuff then.